If you were anything like us, you've probably spent a good chunk of your life chasing that feeling of being smart.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very natural pursuit.
You listen to these deep analyses, you consume all this specialized knowledge, and those little tidbits, they're kind of like ego boost snacks for the brain.
They're tasty, they're validating, we seek them out. But when we talk about intelligence, we're really talking about a very crowded room. It's not one single thing.
Right. I mean, psychologists like Howard Gardner were talking about this decades ago, right?
Exactly. The idea of multiple intelligences. You have the logical, the linguistic, the musical, kinesthetic, interpersonal. It comes in so many flavors.
So that pursuit of just pure logical smarts is only one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
But here's the pivot our sources get into, and I find this fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Often, the trait we actually admire, the one that really leads to creativity and resilience,
Mm-hmm.
it's not an IQ score at all.
Precisely. It's something much more fundamental. It's like the operating system of your personality. Mm-hmm. In psychology, it's known as openness.
One of the big 5 personality traits.
It is. And for today, you can forget about agreeableness or neuroticism. We are diving deep into openness.
And openness isn't really about what you know, it's about your disposition.
Yes. It's about curiosity, imagination, and really the willingness to embrace something new.
It's the difference between seeing a strange new situation and your brain immediately throwing up a wall
Versus seeing it as an unexplored door. And that willingness, that simple choice, it fundamentally dictates your whole growth trajectory.
So our mission today is to help you listening map out where you might be on this spectrum.
Because the research is crystal clear on this. This trait correlates so strongly with creativity, with lifelong learning, and just overall well-being.
And this is just a reflective tool. We're holding up a mirror here, not delivering some kind of verdict.
Exactly. Okay, so let's unpack how this actually shows up in the, the chaos of daily life.
Yeah, I think that's the most interesting part. Openness isn't some academic concept, it's operational. Yeah. It shows up in those tiny, immediate reactions that define your comfort zone. Or maybe your lack of one.
Absolutely. It's revealed when you're confronted with the unknown, and specifically how quickly you default to acceptance versus rejection. Let's look at 3 scenarios.
Okay, let's start with a really immediate one. A sensory challenge. Food.
The ultimate test.
Right. Imagine you're at a friend's house, and they serve a dish you have absolutely never heard of. It looks striking, but it's totally unfamiliar. What's that immediate gut reaction?
Well, this is where you see a beautiful contrast in priorities.
Oh.
For someone low in openness, the brain's first job is safety and predictability.
Okay.
The thought isn't, ooh, what does this taste like? It's, what is that exactly? Is it safe? You know what? I think I'll just stick to the chips.
The instinct is to reject the new thing to preserve comfort.
Yes. But then you have the person in the middle, the cautious explorer.
I feel like this is a lot of people.
It is. They don't dive in, but they're not shutting it down either. They're the ones asking 5 detailed questions about the ingredients, maybe Googling it under the table.
Checking the risk profile.
Exactly. And if it's acceptable, then they'll commit to one very cautious bite.
Okay, so what's on the other end of the spectrum?
That's just sheer, unadulterated, experiential hunger. They don't need a guarantee. They want the story. Their reaction is, fermented shark sushi, why not? Weird food stories make life more fun. For them, the novelty is the reward. It outweighs the risk of a bad taste.
Okay, scenario 2, routines.
Yeah.
Your comfort zone.
Yes.
Someone suggests switching up an established, deeply comfortable part of your life. It could be a small delight Syria, a new software update at work, taking a different commute.
Or it could be major, like changing your entire exercise regime.
What's the contrast here?
It's the desire for entrenched stability versus a hunger for mental stimulation. The less open response is immediate resistance. It's that little voice saying, why fix what isn't broken?
Any change just feels like unnecessary work. It disrupts efficiency.
Right. We often mistake our routines for the only way to do things, but for the person high on the spectrum,
What's their take?
their response is, love it. Change is basically my mental cardio. Sticking to the same path is what generates friction for them.
So they get bored easily.
Incredibly. If they take the same route to work 3 days in a row, they'll start looking for a new street just to see a different storefront. For them, novelty is energy.
I love this next one because it really tests our humility. Let's talk about conflict and perspective.
This is where openness meets empathy.
So you're in a conversation, and a friend shares an opinion, political, philosophical, whatever, that just fundamentally clashes with your own deeply held beliefs. What's that instinct?
The low openness reaction defaults to self-protection, judgment. The mental drawbridge goes straight up.
So you're not even really listening anymore.
Not really. You might be nodding politely, but internally you're just preparing your counter-arguments or maybe even assigning a negative label to that person. The difference feels like a threat to your worldview.
That feels incredibly common today. We see disagreement as a battle.
We do, but the highly open instinct is so radically different. Instead of a threat, they see a learning opportunity.
So they lean in.
They lean in. Their reflex is to say, tell me more. I genuinely want to understand how you got to that perspective. They prioritize acquiring a new viewpoint, even if they disagree with it.
It's about understanding the mechanism of thought, not just the conclusion.
Perfectly put.
And this is where it gets so meaningful. Because this isn't just about food or arguments. This defines how we handle life's major shakeups.
The job loss, the unexpected move, the career pivot.
Right. Does that curveball trigger a full meltdown, or is it framed almost instantly as, okay, new adventure. Chaos is the spice of life.
And that framing, it determines whether the event drains you or excites you. And because this is a continuum, we can map these behaviors onto 5 distinct profiles.
Okay, let's break them down. Where do we start?
Let's start at the very bottom of the spectrum, where routine is king.
Okay.
We call this profile the closed book. This person gets immense comfort from routines, from familiarity, from predictability. They're the reliable anchor in any group.
They're the person still listening to the same playlist from 2010.
Exactly. Because they know they like those songs, so why gamble 3 minutes of their life on something new?
That certainty is valuable, I get that.
Yeah.
But what's the cost?
The pros are huge. They're incredibly reliable, dependable, often very efficient in their domain. But the con is serious. They systematically miss out on new opportunities and perspectives.
Because those things exist outside the comfort zone.
They do. So the growth path here isn't to suddenly become a thrill seeker, it's to start small. Try one new food, listen to a documentary outside your favorite genre.
Dip a toe, not the whole body.
Precisely. Just ask someone with a different opinion to explain their side for 10 minutes and just listen.
Okay, so moving up a step from the closed book,
Yeah.
we have what? The person who sees a fence instead of a wall.
I like that. That's the cautious explorer. They're open-minded, but they absolutely require training wheels, or at least a detailed map.
So they'll try sushi, but only if it's cooked.
That's the perfect analogy. They're willing to consider variety, but they're very wary of unpredictability. They need to reduce the novelty to a known probability before they'll commit.
They sound thoughtful, deliberate. That's a good thing, right?
It is. That's the massive they're far less likely to leap into chaos. But the con is analysis paralysis. They overthink things.
And they talk themselves out of rewarding experiences.
All the time, just because the data set wasn't 100% complete. For them, the goal is intentional, controlled risk. Try one new thing a month without reading all the reviews first.
All right, now we get to the middle ground. The sweet spot.
The person who is simply openish, this is the balance point.
So they're curious, but practical.
Yes. They'll plan a spontaneous road trip, but they have a safety net credit card tucked away. They'll go hiking, but you can bet they checked the Yelp reviews of the trail and the weather forecast first.
They sound very adaptable, very balanced. What's their struggle?
Their struggle is hesitation. They often wait just long enough to miss the opportunity, or they second-guess their instincts because they're constantly weighing risk versus reward.
So the advice for them is...
Lean into the curiosity. Trust that initial spark. Say yes before the practical part of your brain convinces you to stay home.
Okay, now we're climbing higher towards the people who thrive on this stuff.
The wide-eyed wanderer. This person is fueled by curiosity, creativity, and discovery. They're your friend with the new restaurant tips, the random trivia about koalas.
The person who's seen that obscure film no one's heard of.
That's them. They are energized by the unknown. Their pros are exceptional creativity, resilience, and empathy. They can connect disparate ideas so easily.
That energy sounds great, but also a little chaotic. What's the trade-off?
The trade-off is the mile-wide, inch-deep problem. They spread themselves too thin, they get overwhelmed by endless fascinating options.
So they start a lot of projects.
But rarely finish them. They're always chasing the next shiny thing. So their growth path is about focus. It's learning the art of commitment.
So they need to channel that openness into deeper mastery of just a few things.
Exactly. And learning that it's okay, even beneficial, to say no sometimes, even if the new thing sounds thrilling.
And finally, we get to the top. The ultimate frontier of novelty.
The open portal. This person is a pure sponge for life experience,
Oops.
endlessly flexible, willing to try almost anything just for the sake of trying it.
These are the true innovators.
They are highly creative, often ahead of the curve. This is the person who genuinely enjoys a 6-hour documentary about snail romance just because it's a new perspective on life.
That boundless curiosity must come with a huge penalty for stability, though.
It does. The cons are all about grounding. Too much novelty means they have difficulty committing to careers, to relationships, to habits.
They risk burnout.
Massive burnout from always chasing the next new thing, never letting their system rest. For them, the focus has to be on creating routines, but treating the routines themselves as an experiment.
Find novelty in stability.
That's it. Experiment with mindfulness, try grounding practices.
This whole discussion raises a really critical question. Is this stuff fixed? Do we get our score in our 20s? And that's just who we are.
It's a fascinating question, and what the research shows is that while many of the big five traits are pretty stable, openness is often the one that demonstrably declines as we get older.
Really? Why? Is it just we get tired?
It's not so much fatigue as it is a sophisticated reprioritization. As life goes on, we collect battle scars, routines, major responsibilities.
We learn what can go wrong.
Exactly. We gain a better understanding of probabilities. The brain starts to see predictability as a survival mechanism. Novelty becomes an energy drain and an unknown risk.
So the system naturally pulls toward rigidity and away from possibility.
It does. A lot of people who were wide-eyed wanderers in their youth look back and realize, now I'm more of a cautious explorer.
So our brains are actively trying to become more efficient by rejecting new things.
Yeah.
Just knowing that is huge.
It is, because it means we have to actively push against a natural biological current.
It requires intention.
It requires intention.
Hmm.
Understanding this spectrum gives you a baseline, a mirror, so you can ensure you're actively fostering growth, even when everything is pulling you towards rigidity. It's a muscle you have to work.
Absolutely. This isn't about judging whether you're better or worse than anyone else. It's about awareness.
It is.
It's about that intentional pursuit of possibility over predictability. It's choosing to remain a learner, even when learning involves risk or discomfort.
So if you know your brain is going to naturally lean towards stability and efficiency as time goes on, what anchor of intentional novelty can you commit starting today?
Not a huge life change.
No, nothing huge. Just one deliberate, small act of curiosity this week to remind yourself that growth never stops and that the unfamiliar path is often the most rewarding one.